Welcome to China Reporter. Chinese New Year, all good things are only a scam. Chinese New Year in tradition always contains a lot of luck, happiness, and peace that all Chinese people want to give to each other. But at present, all of them have completely disappeared. Instead, we can only observe a tragic scene at the time of beginning a new year in the lunar calendar. During Chinese New Year, Chinese youngsters don't want to come back home due to the pressure from their families. Parents leave their children rashly to back to their jobs. The trend of cutting off relatives during the new year is becoming popular. All of these phenomena will be revealed in this video. I'm more scared of the new year than pigs are. Surely, this saying is the hottest sentence in China's social media this year. Why is this saying becoming popular? Surely many people already know. In China, the Lunar New Year is the biggest and also most important festival in a year, so people often dare to hold the most spectacular as possible. Pig is a precious asset to farmers, and slaughtering pigs for the New Year is a traditional custom. Typically after entering the 12th lunar month, rural families start to kill pigs to prepare meats for traditional cakes and meals for the New Year. The scene of slaughtering pigs is horrifying and obsessive to many people. For pigs, this Chinese New Year is truly a nightmare. But compared to Chinese people, its fear is not necessarily scary. Come across China streets or villages, ask anyone, do you expect to enjoy the Tet holiday with your family? The answer you receive surely is no, and even will be worse. Since the Chinese Communist Party held power, the Chinese New Year has been officially given the term Spring Festival or Changjie in Chinese. All the traditional values have also faded. Many Chinese people fear the new year because they have to clean and buy a lot of things while not having enough money for daily life. The Chinese New Year is no longer a memory of a happy family gathering together and having fun with everyone, but instead requires lavish parties along with the pressure from life and even their own families. There are many videos of Chinese youngers spreading on Weibo and other popular social platforms in China to share their feelings about the coming New Year holiday. Most of them are bad feelings. In an interview, two Chinese girls shared with each other, I saw some social media platforms like Xiaohongshu. Many young people born after 2000 just don't go home for Chinese New Year anymore. They feel that there is too much pressure on interpersonal intentions at home. The relatives ask about work, whether you have a partner or not. Many people say, why do I go home? It is exhaust time, so they just don't go home for the Chinese New Year. I prefer shedding tears in my rented accommodation over going back to my hometown. Approaching 30, I'm overwhelmed by anxiety linked to my age. Even contemplating returning home for the new year brings on a headache. In major cities like Beijing, Nanjing, or Shanghai, individuals my age are still regarded as young. Yet in my hometown, reaching this age without marriage or children is deemed unacceptable. I feel torn, particularly when I think about my rural hometown in Guangzhou. It's like a completely different world. Frankly, I'd rather have limited finances and reside in the bustling city because only there do I feel truly alive and in charge of my destiny. At home, it feels as though my life is not my own. It's as if I exist solely for the sake of my relatives and neighbors. No matter how successful I may become, I'll never measure up to the expectations placed upon me by others. In their eyes, I am worthless and insignificant. I'd opt to dwell in a rented space indefinitely, even if it's modest, even if it's a basement. As long as I'm financially self-reliant and not dependent on handouts from home, I'll feel empowered and in command of my own destiny. I've been drifting away for 9 years, not because I harbor unrealistic fantasies about urban life, but because I harbor a deep-seated dread of returning home, especially during the New Year season when the pressure to marry becomes unbearable. It's for your own good, they insist. But then comes the inevitable interrogation about my income. Simply because I'm nearing 30, I'd prefer to remain cautious. Nobody truly knows me, and I still have ample time ahead of me. My life is brimming with boundless potential. Regardless of the challenges I face or how exhausted I may feel, I refuse to revert to my former existence. Traditionally, the Chinese New Year is a union occasion for everyone. People return home after a long time working away from home and enjoy a New Year's Eve meal with their families. However, for rural families, New Year doesn't always have the union. Children accidentally become the most hurt people. These young parents in rural areas have to leave their children to work far from home. Chinese workers often say that in the countryside there is only winter, not spring, summer, or autumn, because there is only winter, specifically the first days of the new year when workers are away from home and their children return to their hometowns. Huang, but after just a short time, those families have to be separated. Some heartbreaking scenes take place again after the new year. When parents leave their hometown to work somewhere else, as soon as the car door opens, children run to hug their mothers, hoping their parents can stay a few more days with them. Although her dad appeases her that he goes to work to buy a new house, she is still crying and tells her dad that he doesn't want a new house. He only wants her dad. A little girl wearing a pink coat tried to escape the arms of her relatives to chase her mother, who was about to leave, but unfortunately, her heart-stopping cries could not stop her mother from leaving her hometown to work a life far away from home. A barefoot little girl with messy hair ran out screaming after her parents' car left, the child said in tears, breaking her father's heart. Children simply cannot understand their parents' helplessness and bitterness when they have to leave home due to life pressures. Traditionally, Lunar New Year is a time to visit relatives and friends to reunite and exchange blessings. However, why has this 1,000-year-old tradition turned sour? One man explained to me actually started cutting ties with relatives a few years ago if it weren't for direct blood ties. I even consider cutting ties with my parents, which may sound disrespectful, but that is my reality before the new year. I wonder if I should tell my parents after losing my job because I am afraid I will worry them. I also don't want to hide it because I believe that in a family everything must be open and transparent. We should share joys together and overcome difficulties together, so I tell them, and as usual, they are worried and think I am incompetent, and don't even offer a word of encouragement. Mr. Wang from the Hub commented that the root cause of cutting kinship ties is a general decline in moral standards, with people giving top priority. Furthermore, Chinese people are concerned with saving face and liking to compare themselves with others. The wealth gap between the poor and the rich creates a sense of status. The distance when they are together, more and more people prefer to stay home and avoid their phones during the new year, or maybe go on a trip out of town together with family. It's not really a vacation, but rather to avoid stress caused by ineffective social work. Not only the heartbreaking scenes, the Chinese New Year also become bloody by a horrifying incident in Shandong 2024. On the initial day of the new year, a significant shooting incident unfolded in Jiaqi Village, located in Luohe Town, Zhu County, Shandong, China. The perpetrator fatally shot over a dozen individuals before fleeing the scene. Among the victims were 7 members from a single household, along with a doctor from the 120 emergency service. Subsequent to the tragedy, various media outlets initially covered the incident, but all reports were subsequently removed. Additionally, the suspected village was sealed off, with authorities deploying armed police units to secure the area. Local communications networks were disrupted, and access to news was tightly controlled. A considerable number of soldiers, armed and equipped, were dispatched to the site, with several stationed at the village entrance to maintain security. Netizens shared 2 videos capturing the aftermath of the incident, revealing a substantial deployment of armed police to the scene. These officers arrived equipped with live ammunition, assembling for roll call amidst the presence of CCP police vehicles and official buses, while curious villagers observed nearby. The individual behind the camera is speculated to have a Shandong accent. Clad in camouflage attire, the armed personnel were indistinguishable as either armed police or soldiers. In one of the recordings, a sharp popping noise resonated through the air, leaving viewers uncertain whether it was a gunshot or the sound of New Year's firecrackers. Lunar New Year is losing its festive spirit. Modern Chinese people are increasingly apprehensive about the new year. These unusual phenomena reflect deep-seated problems in the development of Chinese society and the Communist Party of China's decades-long emphasis on the importance of wealth. The Chinese prioritize financial gain. Above all, this has led to various social problems and distorted ideologies such as measuring a person's success solely based on how much money they can earn. Traditional cultural values of simple kindness and mutual support have gradually faded as family and friendships have become increasingly superficial. The breakdown of family bonds leads to loss of social vitality. If a society or nation lacks vitality, it indicates that the nation is on the verge of decline or even destruction.